Okay, we're going to be doing a walkthrough of the Vapi dashboard. The dashboard is one of the quickest ways to interact with Vapi. It's not the only way, there's also the SDKs, but it is a quick way that you can kind of create assistants. And there's also a lot of other things like viewing your billing information, viewing call data, and we're going to look at all of those pieces. So the first kind of tab on the left side, you're going to see you can create a new assistant. This is where you can create the kind of central components of Vapi, which are assistants. They are kind of the programmable agents that you can create voice bots with. And then there's also phone numbers. You can manage your phone numbers, provision new phone numbers, and then you can also view call data. So you can go call by call, whether it's an inbound phone call, a web call. You can see the transcripts, you can see logs, you can play back the actual audio, as well as see a summary of the call, the cost breakdown, a lot of other things. So all of this is visible in your dashboard. Um, and we also have a voice library tab here. A lot of these UI components could change, but just like the core aspect is that the dashboard gives you a very easy way to view what's going on in your account. This voice library allows you to listen to voices from different voice providers. Um, we also have billing here. You can manage your billing data, see your monthly usage, your daily usage, usage limits, set your payment information. You can also view your account information. So this is where you would find things like your API keys. You can set concurrency limits. You can set your server URL, which that's a whole other discussion. But this is how Vapi gets data to your services. You provide a URL that data can be dropped to, posted to, and then your account email, and then we have provider keys. So provider keys, that's also another discussion, but they are the keys that Vapi uses to make requests on your behalf to providers for voice, for models, for transcription, phone providers, etc. These keys are the keys that Vapi will source from to make a request on your behalf. So you can see here that some of them aren't filled out in this account and some of them are filled out. So in the case where they are filled out, Vapi is going to see that we've put a provider key in, and it's going to make requests for us with that key, as if it was our code making that request, and it's going to show up in that provider account. So, for example, if I'm doing voice text to speech with 11 Labs, Vapi is going to make that request with this key that I've put input here. And so all of the request information and the billing data, that's going to show up in my 11 Labs account under the account that this key owns. So that's this provider key for 11 Labs. If we look at Play HT for this voice here, we can see that it's not filled out. So what Vapi does is, in any case, whether you fill these out or not, for most of them, some of them you do have to fill out, but for most of these, if it's not filled out, Vapi is it's still going to work. It's just going to make a request with its own keys. So Vapi is going to make the API request on your behalf with its own keys, and then your Vapi account is going to get billed. So no matter what, there's no margin on top for these requests. It's either the request is made directly to the provider, or the cost for the request is just charged directly to your Vapi account if you don't have a key here, because Vapi is going to make the request for you and then pay on your behalf. And then the cost is just passed through to your Vapi account. So that's provider keys. That's a whole other thing. We won't go too deep into that, but that was basically all you need to know about provider keys. You can kind of hook them up here just to have your request and cost data pass through. And so we also have a resources tab. But the main thing we want to look at is, how do we create an assistant? This is kind of a dashboard quick start. So we're going to look at creating an assistant here. And the assistant we want to create is a simple order taking assistant. So this is going to be a pizza shop inbound call reception desk. And so it's going to listen for people calling in. And ideally, this is going to be for phones calling in. And then we want this pizza shop to take someone's order. And then ideally, we can take that order data and we can have that sent to our server in real time as the conversation is happening. So we're not going to focus on any of the server integration, but we're going to focus on just getting the conversation going and just starting with a quick start here. So the first step is, it's fairly straightforward. And again, some of these UI components can change, but the core idea is one of the fastest ways to create an assistant is just to create one in your dashboard like this. So you can hit create new assistant. We're going to start with a blank template. So we're going to hit continue, and then we're going to name this Vapi's pizza front desk. And so we're just naming our assistant. And again, all of these flows could, potentially change, but we're going to create this assistant. So assistants are the central part of Vapi. They're kind of the heart of everything. And it's where we set our model, we set our transcriber, our voice, as well as we can see functions and advanced. We won't cover those right now. You can see we have projected cost information for our assistant. This is the cost projection for text to speech, for speech to text, for the model, as well as Vapi's fixed fee, which you can read more about Vapi's pricing on our pricing page. So there's a cost to your model, and Vapi tries its best to help you understand the cost per minute, that's the most important thing. Your build per minute, or call cost increases the longer you talk. And then there's latency. So latency is one of the most important components of your voice pipeline when you're designing these. So Vapi also tries its best to give you a projection of latency, voice to voice. And anytime someone says voice to voice, it's from the time I finish speaking to the time I get a voice response right back at my device to hear the AI speaking. So the latency looks like it's going to be around 1.5 seconds here, 1,500 milliseconds. We normally measure latency in milliseconds because it goes pretty low. It can go as low as 800 milliseconds. And yeah, so that's cost and latency. And you can see there's different modes here that we can set this into to kind of see projections, whether it's the web, whether we're using Twilio, whether we're using Vonage, which are for phones, which is a whole other topic. So first, we need to configure three things. We need to configure our model, we need to configure our transcriber, and we need to configure our voice. So our model is going to be the large language model or whatever kind of model that is the core intelligence. And there's a field here called first message. So this is used for certain applications where you want the assistant to speak first, speak a first message. So if we're following our guide here, we are going to grab our first message here, and this is going to be a pizza shop. So an appropriate first message would be Vapi's Pizzeria speaking. How can I help you? So you can see here how this is spelled Vappy. And this is just for pronunciation. Sometimes you need to tweak small things just so the text-to-speech pronounces it correctly. Maybe for weird things that are a bit more difficult to pronounce, you might need to make small tweaks. But still, the main idea is it's going to greet people. And I just realized I'm missing an S up here. Okay. All right. And then now we've set our first message. So when we either pick up the phone, or if this is an outbound call and we are calling someone, the first message spoken by the agent is going to be Vapi's Pizzeria speaking. How can I help you? And so you can kind of get the idea of the dashboard's giving you this really easy way to program this agent. And when we also can create agents via the API, so we can do this programmatically. This is just a nice kind of convenience thing, so we can kind of just quick start. And all of this could be done in minutes. So now we're also going to be setting the prompt. So I'm just going to grab this prompt here that I wrote beforehand. And so this prompt is the basics is just, you're a pizza shop located on the internet. Your job is to take the orders of customers calling in. There are three kinds of pizza, cheese pizza, pepperoni, vegetarian, three kinds of sides, French fries, garlic bread, chicken wings, and then two types of drinks, soda, water. Basic ideas, we're just instructing the agent on what the menu is. And other details like how to speak, be sure to be funny and witty, and so on. So we also prompt that it's important to follow the order in an efficient manner and have succinct replies. And there's a lot. It's a whole other topic. The topic of prompt engineering for these agents is a whole other topic. But we're just going to work with this prompt. It will work for our purposes. So that's our model. So that should just autosave. So we're going to be using GPT-4 for this, and OpenAI could be on GPT-5 by the time you watch this. Hopefully we remake it, but yeah. So we're going to go with GPT-4 for this model. You can choose your favorite large language model, and then we're going to leave all these other settings blank. Yeah. And so that's the model settings. So you can go in and tweak those to configure your large language model, and you can publish the changes to ensure they're published. And now we're going to look at the transcriber. So this is actually the first step in the voice pipeline. This is just as I'm speaking words right now. Sound is physical waves that need to be turned into text, and then that text can be fed to a large language model. And so, yeah, we're going to be using DeepGram just as a default for our transcriber. Our language will be English. We're speaking English. And we're going to use Nova 2 as the model. So we're going to leave everything the same in the transcriber. These should be the defaults. And so now we're going to configure our voice. So for our voice, we'll just use a provider called PlayHT. And then for the specific voice, let's see, what should we use here? For the voice, we'll use Jennifer, and then we'll just leave all of these other settings completely the same. And so every voice provider has all these other settings you can configure, and these are all things you can do in your dashboard or set these configurations via creating an agent via the API. Um, most of what we do, or I believe anything we can do, is going to be able to be achievable via the SDK, which is making calls directly to the API. And this is just a nice wrapper around just being able to quick start. So our model is configured, our transcribers configured, our voice is configured. So it goes transcriber, model, voice. And so everything should be good now for us to call in and talk to our assistant. So to call in, we can hit this green button. First, let's publish our changes. And then we can talk to our agent. So there's two ways. We can talk to the agent via the web, or we can talk to the agent via phone. We're going to look at both of those ways. So let's talk to the agent via the phone. And this could have been done very quickly. Just write your prompts. Transcriber didn't need to change. Voice was already basically configured. And now we're going to talk to it.
Vapi's Pizzeria speaking. How can I help you?
Yeah, I was looking to order some food.
Awesome. We've got 3 categories to choose from: pizza, sides, and drinks. What are you in the mood for today?
I would say I'd probably want a pizza. What kind of pizzas are available?
We've got the classics: cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza, and the evergreen veggie pizza. What's calling your name?
I would say I would want to go with the cheese.
Cheese pizza, a timeless choice. Want to add a side or a drink to that? We've got French fries, garlic bread, chicken wings, soda, and water.
I would go with soda, or yeah. So no, actually, I'd go with water. They're more healthy, I guess.
Water it is, healthier and keeps the pizza party hydrated. Anything else? A
Oh no,
side,
that's
maybe? Cool. So, a cheese pizza and a water. We'll have that ready for you in 10 to 20 minutes. Enjoy.
okay. Thank you. All right, bye. So yeah, so that the web version. So we just talked to the assistant via the web, and you can see how fast it is to configure your transcriber, your model, your voice, and just talk to the assistant. The main thing we're actually interested in is how do we actually like call into this agent, because we are going to want to handle people's phone calls coming in. So what we can do is we have two choices in terms of managing our numbers. We can either bring numbers externally. So Twilio and Vonage are two major phone number provisioners. So you can provision a new phone number, and then you just own that. So you could have an account with Twilio or Vonage, and then either you can import phone numbers you already own, or you can buy a number through Vapi. And so Vapi is going to just purchase the phone number on your behalf, either from Twilio or Vonage or any phone provider. And then it's just going to carry that for you. And so for convenience, we're just going to buy a phone number. Vapi is going to do this for us, and you can see how easy it is. It's literally one click to buy a new phone number. So now we have a new phone number. We just chose an area code, and then we are going to this is the critical part. We either can attach this assistant to the phone number to handle calls that come to the phone number, or we can have this assistant conduct calls going outwards from the phone number. So that's where you have inbound and outbound phone calling. Inbound is phone calls coming into it. Outbound is phone calls going out from the number. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach this assistant to the inbound number. And so now that it's attached, we can actually dial the assistant. So right now I'm going to make a phone call. So let me type the phone number here. So it's 415-909-5927. So now we're going to make a phone call out to the assistant. And now the assistant is attached to the number. So let's make the call.
Vapi's Pizzeria speaking. How can I help you?
Hi, I was looking to order some food.
Awesome. We've got 3 categories to choose from: pizza, sides, and drinks. What are you in the mood for today?
I'd like to hear about the pizzas.
Sure thing. For pizzas, we've got cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza, and veggie pizza. Which one's calling your name?
I'd say veggie pizza.
Veggie pizza, a classic choice. Anything else you'd like? Maybe a side or a drink?
No, that's all.
Just the veggie pizza then?
Yeah.
No problem. We'll have that ready for you in 10 to 20 minutes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy your pizza.
Okay, bye. Okay, and then that was the inbound call. So you can see how we attach the assistant to the phone number, and the exact same thing we experienced on web, we transitioned that to actual phones and calling to an assistant. So that is kind of the basics of setting up an assistant and actually getting a conversation going and starting quickly with that. And we didn't things we didn't address is how do we get data to our services, and how do we actually have the assistant stop the call and be more intelligent during the conversation. There's a ton of other stuff we didn't look at related to defining those things, which also exist in your dashboard functions, as well as advanced configurations. But this was a quick start just to get you familiar with the dashboard. And the idea is that it kind of centralizes all this stuff in your account, and then the SDKs give us direct access to that or direct request via the API. So yeah, this was a quick start with the Vapi dashboard.